Hello, everyone. Welcome. Anthony Monteith here. This is a quick shout out to everybody in Ireland, all the acupuncturists north and south. I have with me, just before he flies out to Milan for his birthday, Mr. Jonathan Shubbs of UAT. Thanks, Jonathan, for joining us. The reason why I reached out to you was because of some questions that have arisen through advertising and showing the course to about 400 different practitioners around Ireland. And one of the major number one questions about UAT and why we're bringing it to Ireland and getting you over here is had questions from long-term practitioners of balanced style and master tongue style and these, should we say, emergent styles of acupuncture. What would UAT bring to their practice?
Yeah, so this is a question I get a lot. And most of the way that Dr. Tan taught or Master Tong, so we can classify these as mainly distal style acupuncture approaches. So you're looking at holography and channel interactions. But a lot of it was taught through this works for that. There wasn't the logical breakdown of why one channel interacts with another. How can I decide between which system is going to work better? Is it going to be an interior-exterior system, one based on midday, midnight, etc.? And also with the holography, holography being imaging and mirroring, how to really use that to its best advantage. So even if you have a background in distal acupuncture and you've studied one of these systems before, UAT system gives an underlying logic to what you're doing. So there's always this question is you can always follow something from a book or what somebody told you to do and it will work. But when you understand how it works, you get to another level of what you're doing. And that's what the UAT system is. It's more about understanding why and how everything works than just giving out protocols. Right?
Very good. Very good. I have to say,
that would be
definitely it helped me, especially when you were diving, I know towards the end you were mentioning a little bit more about the, shall we say, the, what do they call it? When we start going into dealing with meridian conversion and I Ching and stuff like that, that definitely had a bigger impact for me, helped me understand it a lot more.
Yeah. So yeah, we teach that, and then we also teach the 5 elements in a different way, which comes from the SAM acupuncture.
Yeah, very good.
But overall, it's about having a basic understanding, even more than basic, having a deep understanding of how the channels interact, why they interact, and that leads to pretty much all the other applications that you can find with the Dr. Tan system, with the Master Tong system, with any distal system, and all other systems also. It also explains a lot of other things that we just take for granted, or we just said because it said so in the I Ching or it says so here. The UAT system helps develop that and give a understanding, a logical approach to it.
Excuse me, hold on a second. I'm just going to pause here. No, recording again. So, okay, so we covered, so I can edit that bit. We've covered this long practitioner, getting a deeper understanding. And so instead of, because what I find with the Tan Tongue and those similar styles is people always refer back to the book, don't they? They always go back to the point prescription, so the Dao Ma does this, the Dao Ma does that. And yet there is like a deeper understanding. But what it seems to me, what I've figured out is you have the logic. You get a real handle on the logic for that, which is great. The second question was from a TCM practitioner, and she was asking specifically, what would it bring to my TCM practice?
Well, the answer is actually very similar to the first one, whereas with Master Tong and Dr. Tan, we were talking about giving an underlying logic. Often with TCM practitioners, so these are people who do the traditional Chinese medicine approach of applying acupuncture. Again, it's a lot of this is what it says in the Deadman, this is what it says here, this point has this action, this point has that action, and that's it. So there isn't an understanding of why this point is doing that. Some of them are understandable when you're using a point that's on a channel that's associated with an affected organ. That's quite simple. But as soon as you start moving away from that, there's a lot of mental gymnastics that have to take place to find a logic. So with UAT system, you're actually going from the basic of the logic to get to the TCM point. So it gives you a better understanding and a more approachable where you can actually think about your treatments more creatively. You're moving away from protocols and you're thinking, okay, so this point does that, it works because of this. Now, if I apply the logic of why that works, oh, maybe this point also works. And then you'll start using that one. So it opens you up to being a lot more creative and also finding other possibilities. Because when you're working with the protocol, if the protocol doesn't work, you're either going to say the patient's the problem, the diagnosis is the problem, or the protocol is the problem. But sometimes if the protocol is the problem, the easiest thing to do is if you understand why you're applying it, then you can find a better point combination to treat that. So that would be one thing. And another thing is that often when TCM practitioners treat pain problems, they'll mainly be treating the pain locally. And here we'll be explaining how you can incorporate more distal treatments, more adjacent treatments, and different approaches for treating the pain, which will actually give you a more of a holistic and incorporative treatment. What I always say is if you treat locally, you're only going to be getting a reaction around where you're putting the needle. If you treat distally, the whole body has to engage in the treatment. So it's more of a holistic treatment. And by that function alone, you're actually also treating not only the symptom, the branch, but you're also treating the root.
Yeah, it's really interesting you said that. I mean, I trained in UAT or Jaji style spinal acupuncture, so we're going right in close to the bones. And, UAT used to talk about balancing the organs. And when you think about it, it's a balanced method. You're generally, like if you look at Japanese systems, they very superficially needle the yang, so the tai yang. But in the Jaji, we go right in and we touch the bone, but it's affecting at the front of the body, the organ systems. So in effect, I think a lot of people are inadvertently getting results because they are in some way distally, although it be a little bit more localized internally, balancing the body from the external. So definitely, I would say for me personally, any TCM practitioners, it's a game changer. Like it's going to transform your results, and it's going to create wonder and mystery and intrigue and fascination by your clients, because they're going to be truly intrigued as to why you've maybe put needles in a foot and a hand, and then suddenly their neck pain is gone. So definitely for TCM practitioners, it's a must. I also got questions from some undergraduates who are in their final year or entering into the final year. And would it be of a benefit for them to attend? What would it bring for them?
Actually, this is probably one that, if we could go back and all learn this when we were undergrads, our whole last year in exams would have been a lot easier. I teach this system at the school in Switzerland, and we start teaching it from the second year. It allows students who, just like practitioners, to move away from memorization. So once you're in the clinic, you're in your protocols, that's one thing. But as a student, you have all these different ideas, all these different things you have to know, memorize, and you can move away from memorizing, move into a logical understanding of why, what, and what's happening. So it will really give you a better foundation for your exams and coming into yourself as a young practitioner. It will give you a much more grounded and better foundation in which to move forward with all of your acupuncture studies after. And another thing that's interesting about this, one of the reasons why we call it the foundations, because the idea is that we go to the very basics of how acupuncture works. And if you understand that, you'll understand not only the TCM that you're learning or the whatever style it is that you're trained in, but it allows you to then move between the different systems. So if you only trained in TCM and you want to start learning Japanese acupuncture, distal acupuncture, it gives you a framework in which to include that in what you've already done. And same thing is if you're studying Master Tung and Dr. Tan, it will allow you then to incorporate more of the 5 elements, etc. And if you're a student, it gives you that foundation in which to perceive and to not be overly confused and to incorporate whatever you're learning into a basic framework.
Very good. And then the final question I got was over the levels, is getting clarity of some people wanted to know, like, how far can I take this? And, obviously for us at the moment, we're building the foundations in Ireland. So I'm encouraging whether you're 25 years in practice or 25 months in practice or less, is to come and do the foundations and start from the beginning. It's like any martial art or any discipline. You need to understand the logic so that when you come to do, module 2 and module 3, which completes level 1, then that sets you up for whatever comes next. And to what level are you? I mean, I know we've had this conversation offline, but where do you see the next trainings coming, and how are you structuring it so people can understand how far, what's possible, what is possible for these students?
Okay, so the UAT structure is that there's 3 different certification levels. The first is a practitioner level, then an advanced level, and the highest is a master's level. Each level has modules. So the first level, the practitioner level, has 3 modules. It has the foundations course, the 5 elements course, and the I Ching Bagua course. The foundations course is really giving the UAT model, understanding how it works, and channel interactions and holography. And that's also a basis on which I teach the other 2 parts of the practitioner level. Then we do the 5 elements. And with the 5 elements, we do abdominal palpation. And that's more for internal problems, psycho-emotional problems. But the logic of the UAT system is implemented also in the 5 elements. Same thing is true for the I Ching Bagua. There we're looking at channel conversion therapy. We're also looking at some entry-exit points. There's a whole bunch of other things that are in there. But again, that's based on the UAT Foundations model. So those are the 3 parts that are the basic practitioner level. Once somebody's completed those 3 parts, then there's an advanced level where we have an advanced 5 elements course, because after doing this for many years, I've realized that it's so dense that we had to separate it into levels. And you need to work with the first 24 protocols, or not even protocols, treatments. Then we can keep adding them more because it's a logic, and then we can start doing mixed treatment. So we have an advanced form for the 5 elements course. We also have an advanced for the I Ching Bagua. So the first one is mainly channel conversion. And then once you've got the the practitioner certificate, you can do the advanced course. And those are 2 modules. And then after that, we have the master's course, which it's really a complete course where we build on everything we've come up with. We also go into more of the psychology, some of the mythology, some of the part of it is spiritual, part of it is practical, part of it is theory, part of it is also, if you want to teach, we break it down into how you can teach from the beginning the different channels in a completely different way. We also go into how to work much more in trauma, even though in the other 2 levels, we do start working with emotional trauma. It's in the last level that we really can delve deep into that. So at the moment, those are the 3 levels. And once we have enough practitioners who have that 3rd level, then we'll start looking
further
for continuing. But it is a study that can go quite far.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I find that when we get going with these systems and we're working, you usually find that first, level 1, which is the 3 modules, is the funnel that draws in the interest and has, you've a lot of content there. You start getting results, and then as you go to the next level and the next level, and that, it's really just all about practicing and using the systems and getting results and getting a deeper understanding. Mm-hmm. And as you say, when you get to the master's level, it's almost you transcend all of that whilst maintaining your depth and your grounded practice. You deepen that understanding, but you then ascend to see what I call the hidden interactions at a more spiritual, mental, emotional level, which is really where we're all gravitating towards anyway as we get through this thing we call life. So I think it'd be fantastic for people to give comments and feedbacks on this video below. Jonathan will be here in November. We're here the 6th and the 7th November.
Yeah.
We're in Killashee House, fantastic venue, beautiful house, just outside Naas, about 40 minutes from Dublin. For those of you who are traveling outside, it's just off the N7, easy to get to. Private grounds, 40 acres of grounds, beautiful, great venue. So we'll be 2 days immersion with Jonathan, getting down there and getting dirty with it and feeling it and using it and understanding how each thing works and how each thing talks to one another. And I think for especially for me, after like 16 years of looking at different styles of acupuncture, it helps me understand styles that are not even in UAT, how they work as well. So everyone is welcome. I'll leave the link for booking, and you can jump on that. When you book, reserve your spot. It'll then send you an email telling you how to pay for the course. We're doing a special up to, I think, the 16th of October, which will be $350. After that, it's $400. So get your slots booked now. Jonathan's coming from, I don't know where you'll be coming from, whether it'll be Switzerland or somewhere else, but
yeah, I'll be coming from Switzerland that weekend. Yeah,
awesome. So let's make it special. Let's start something new. Let's get to a level that puts acupuncture on the map, and with Jonathan's help, I'm sure we can do that. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining Jonathan and answering those questions, and we'll see you soon in Ireland.